Hello and how's it going, everyone? It is Skullzi here with the latest gaming news, rumors, and speculation. And with the 111th new version of Skyrim recently announced, the Skyrim Anniversary Edition, many in the Bethesda community are kinda starting to wonder where all the other remasters for all the other Bethesda Game Studios games actually are, such as Oblivion, Morrowind, Todd Howard Cooking Simulator 3, and perhaps even the other Bethesda franchise, Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, as it seems quite odd to some that Skyrim is literally the only Bethesda Game Studios game to get remastered yet, and not only that, but essentially low-key remastered in numerous different ways over and over again, like some sort of necromancer that just can't get over themselves and attempts to resummon the same zombie over and over again even though it just wants to die. Okay, weird reference, but anyway, moving on. I broke down in previous videos why this is exactly the case though, showing how Skyrim is not only Bethesda Game Studios' most successful game in terms of sales to date, but also literally the 16th best-selling game of all time. Fallout 4 didn't even sell half of what Skyrim sold, and furthermore, Fallout 3 sold even less than Fallout 4. Skyrim sold over 30 million copies as of 2021, Fallout 4 sold over 13 million, and Fallout 3 sold over 10 million. So clearly the community voted with their wallets for what interested them the most, and that answer was Skyrim over and over and over again. People just wanted to pour Skyrim right into their eyes. But that doesn't dispute, though, that quite a large percentage of the Bethesda community would straight up summon a demon for the chance to play a remastered version of Fallout 3 or even Fallout 4. But fear not, because despite Bethesda simping so hard for Skyrim, and despite the community lapping it all up like that Redwater skooma, there is still some very solid evidence suggesting that not only do Fallout remasters straight up have a real chance at actually happening at some point in the future, but on top of all this, there is also real evidence that supports these remasters could be in development right now. And while this is something I did mention on the channel previously before, to be honest, I am quite surprised there isn't more people talking about this, as it's the only real evidence so far supporting the Fallout remasters. And also, this is all trending again somehow, so with all this in mind, I plan to break down the recent evidence suggesting a massive Fallout remaster is in development right now, and at the same time, I plan on giving you my thoughts on just how possible a Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and even a Fallout New Vegas remaster could be, based upon this recent information, as well as my own further speculation based on random little rumors that I heard recently as well. Remember though, this is information I briefly talked about here in the channel before, so while it's not breaking news, it is something that seems to be trending again amongst the community, so I want to expand on my previous statements on this and break all this down. First off, it's pretty ironic that Bethesda Game Studios remasters are actually a real topic of discussion in the first place, as years ago Todd Howard himself said that he has no interest in ever remastering any of their games. He said he felt that the original version of their game should forever represent that specific game in its pure and unaltered form, which makes sense, and I actually can totally respect that opinion. Until that Skyrim money came rolling in, and then all of a sudden Bethesda was down to remaster it over and over again. This combined with the recent strategic military alliance between the forces of Bethesda and Microsoft, and it seems like this is truly a new age of Bethesda. A Bethesda changed by both the battles of remastering Skyrim over and over again, as well as that 7.6 billion daddy Microsoft money. And of course, with this money comes the added Microsoft assets and support. Bethesda Game Studios are a lot more free now than they ever have been before to try new things and branch out a bit, such as dabbling in skooma-induced necromancy, or maybe even remastering a Fallout game finally, perhaps, hopefully, right? Please, maybe? After all, one could clearly argue that with each new Skyrim remaster or release, the chances statistically should go up for a Fallout remaster, and Skyrim is technically running on a much older and now outdated version of the Bethesda creation engine, which is a crazy thing to say out loud and actually finally be true, but this further showcases just how much of a new and somewhat unpredictable Bethesda we're dealing with here, and in a good way, by the way. However, if they can release Skyrim again somehow, even though it's running on an older engine, then why would they not be able to do the same thing for Fallout 4, as Fallout 4 is actually running on a newer engine, or at least a slightly newer engine, than what Skyrim actually was? Because after all, if the framework is essentially the same from Skyrim to Fallout 4, then most of the already existing engine overhauls from the previous remasters should be able to easily be implemented into a remastered Fallout 4, right? Obviously, Bethesda artists would have to personally overhaul and improve the already existing textures, coders would have to optimize the game more, and testers would have to help and fix the already existing bugs, but all of this circumstantial and pattern-based evidence does seem to suggest that a Fallout remaster is more possible now than ever before, especially when you consider the actual somewhat new evidence that I broke down in a previous video. First off, alongside the additional performance and graphical upgrades, the Skyrim Anniversary Edition is set to release with every piece of Creation Club content thus far, alongside with some new things, and that's quite a lot of content. And it so happens that Fallout 4 too has a lot of Creation Club custom content as well, and alongside the custom Creation Club content, the modding community itself is still thriving, and there are some huge add-on mods, such as Fallout London, that is currently in the works. With all this in mind, it's easy to piece together that Bethesda could literally do the same thing for Fallout 4 that they're doing for the Skyrim Anniversary Edition, overhauling and improving the game while adding a substantial amount of new content via Creation Club mods and DLC. And as I broke down here on the channel previously, there is actual evidence suggesting this very thing could be happening right now, just as you're listening to this video. Now this bit is speculation though, but it's speculation based on some pretty solid evidence. The lead writer for the Fallout London mod team was literally hired by Bethesda as a quest designer, very recently actually. One could argue that this is a sign that she could be assisting with this Fallout 4 remaster, or some who took way too much skooma could perhaps think this is a sign that they're working on Fallout 5, but that's probably not happening. Instead, what I think is going on is it makes perfect sense to hire someone from the Fallout London mod team to help implement new content into the Fallout 4 Special Edition, as well as just help with future games in general, as the writer is no doubt very talented, and also this would help implement the Fallout London mod into a Fallout 4 Special Edition as well. And while this evidence is indeed somewhat circumstantial, it's the most credible evidence so far supporting that any of these remasters could actually be happening. And on top of all this, as I said before, we're talking about a new Bethesda here, a Bethesda who is willing to make some bolder decisions and more experimental moves, and dare I say that finally remastering a Fallout game seems a lot more believable than the sheer amount of times that Bethesda re-released Skyrim. And you may notice that I primarily focused on Fallout 4 so far, and there is a good reason for that, or perhaps a bad reason, just depending on who you are, but don't blame me for this. I'm just breaking all this down as the dog barks in the background as I'm recording. First off, like I touched on in the previous video, and for some reason I'm beginning most of my paragraphs with first off, the engine Fallout 3 and New Vegas ran on is a much older engine than the Skyrim and Fallout 4 engine. Yes, it's the creation engine, but they overhauled the engine before each game to a somewhat substantial degree, obviously not as large as the overhaul before Starfield, but I'm just making a point here. Either way, it would take a ton of work to remaster Fallout 3 or New Vegas, as those games would essentially be remakes more than they would be remasters. And since a remake takes a lot more work than a remaster, and since Fallout 3 and New Vegas didn't sell nearly as well as Fallout 4, and especially Skyrim, it starts to become fairly obvious why we unfortunately may never see a remake of older Fallout games. This becomes compounded by the fact that the recent Skyrim Anniversary Edition seems to be completely centered mostly around Creation Club content, which most likely is what would happen to a Fallout 4 Special Edition. Fallout 3 was before the days of the Creation Club era, long before actually, and the same goes for New Vegas, so there really wouldn't be any new content Bethesda could easily bundle with a Fallout 3 remake, making it even far less likely and substantial. Yes, there's a lot of mods for Fallout 3 and New Vegas, but they're not official Creation Club mods, so Bethesda would probably be a lot less likely to implement at least the majority of those mods. And I know all this isn't what the majority of people would want to hear me say, but this is what it is. However, there might still be some shred of hope here, one last-ditch effort of hope for those that just don't want to completely give up on their remastered dreams quite yet, which you should still give up on them, by the way. I hate to say that, but yes. As I said before, I heard a rumor that Bethesda was potentially opening up a new studio that would focus primarily on remakes or remasters. I heard this before the Quake Revitalized Edition was announced, as well as I heard this before the Skyrim Anniversary Edition was announced. So there seems to be at least some small shred of truth to this rumor, but like I said before, I couldn't 100% confirm all this. It's just something I heard from someone with a bit of credibility. And the same person recently told me that there is some sort of single-player Fallout content underway within Bethesda right now, and it doesn't seem like this is Fallout 5, so again, while I can't confirm this information, it does seem a bit plausible based on everything else I broke down in this video, and seeing how they were right about some things that did kind of happen. And this also serves as even more further speculative evidence that perhaps a Fallout 4 remaster might be in the works right now. A overhauled and improved version of the game with a massive amount of new content added to it. Likely content straight from Creation Club, as well as new content created by modders officially hired into the Bethesda team. And these are basically all my expanded thoughts on this entire situation. Since this very discussion is trending again, I decided to revisit this topic again and go into more detail as to what my thoughts actually are on the potential Fallout remasters. But remember though, some of this is indeed speculation and my own educated guesses. As always though, what I want to know is, what do you think about all this? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoy the content, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It helps the channel out a lot, and if you want to help grow the channel and the community, be sure to share the video, because that's the best way a community can help grow a channel and a community itself. And be sure to subscribe to help the channel grow and to stay in the know when it comes to the latest content. And if you want to go above and beyond to support the channel and community, you can support the channel over on Ko-fi, Patreon, or here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. Links for all this and more are down in the description below, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when we wake up in the right timeline finally, and there is a Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 remaster, and I guess maybe a New Vegas remaster too.
It just works.